Hi, I'm gonna wait for a couple of people to show up and then I'm gonna start the stream. The stream today, there is not as much information today as there was in the days prior, but there is a lot that I personally want to talk about today. Hi, Joe. Before we start on the news, that I want to bring up that I think is incredibly important, I think is super upsetting and just some things that I want hide beyond imagination that I want to kind of bring to everyone's attention. Hi, Justin. Hi, Christina. And some things that I want to follow up on from yesterday's stream. Hi, Juju. I'm going to wait for more people to show up. Hi, Dennis. Dennis on TikTok is asking how I am doing today. And honestly, as part of what I want to talk about today, Todd, is that today is one of those days where I'm incredibly discouraged and I'm honestly ready to delete, hi Carolyn, my YouTube and never come back to it again. The funny thing is I applied for YouTube monetization 41 days ago. And I'm going to explain myself before anyone, like in my TikTok comments, says something like, oh my gosh, it's so annoying that you worry about monetization. Oh my gosh, you want to make money out of this conflict. So I'm going to address that first. First of all, I live off of savings for the past 7 months. I don't make money off of TikTok. I make $20 a month off of TikTok monetization on a good month. Last month, it was $17. I sometimes make money as gifts on streams and they total to about $100 a month. So that's $117 a month that I make off of social media. I do have a Patreon where you can support me if you'd like to, but the bulk of my bills, as I live in New York City, and the bulk of everything comes out of my savings. I don't make enough money. In fact, I spend money on creating content. I spend money for deciding to speak out about my country. I don't make money on it. I applied for YouTube monetization to be able to give that monetization to people like Torque so they could buy apartments for their parents and for themselves because they have lost everything fighting for their native city of Mariupol against the Russian aggression. And also so I'm able to support myself sometimes with basic things like bills. To explain to you further what it's like to be a creator on these platforms and why this whole rhetoric of Ukrainians making money off of the conflict is bullshit, I will say this. In order to provide you with good quality content that captivates and makes people listen to me because the picture is good, the sound is good, the things are good, right? That all costs money. I personally, from my own pocket, spent over $1,700 on various things that let me produce this content. The subscription to this software that streams to 3 different platforms is $30 a month. The subscription to another software that moderates trolls is $30 a month. The subscription to Adobe, so I can edit thumbnails and all of this stuff, is $30 a month. That's $90. That's $100 every month for 7 months. That's $700 already. That's $700 that I've spent in 7 months to do basic things. I have sound programs where I edit interviews that also cost money. I pay for my email. I pay for the website that I have. So I'm spending money. I'm not making money. The reason why I wanted to monetize my channel to begin with is to be able to give back to Ukraine, not to make money off of this conflict. So for anyone who thinks that people like me are making bank or like making crazy money off of these platforms by talking about Ukraine, you need to really, really reprioritize and really, really re-understand, like reevaluate how you think about these things. Most of us literally live off savings and spend our own money. Now, I have an incredible audience that have helped me so much with like gear like microphones and gear like certain things and and like has gotten stuff from my Amazon wish list, and I'm lucky. I'm very, very lucky. Otherwise, that would have been another $2,000 out of my own pocket, which is okay. I chose to do that. And I don't complain about it. You don't see me sitting here begging for money, or you don't see me sitting here trying to monetize. I'm not trying to also monetize off of people. I was trying to monetize off of advertisers on YouTube that costs you nothing, right? Because I'm not here to try and solicit money from you. I ask to raise money for certain Ukrainian causes, for people that without people with like online presence will never be able to get their problems solved, right? So those are the only times that I actually ask you guys to fundraise for something. Normally, I don't. So to me, reading like a plethora of comments from people saying that I'm begging for money and I'm monetizing in the conflict is so upsetting, because I'm not monetizing. I had a job. I had a job that paid me over $100,000 that I quit to live off of my savings and to be able to do this. Well, my contract ended and I was going to reapply and I was going to get another job in the same realm. This is where I work. I work in IT. Salaries are good in IT. I haven't had monetary issues with my salaries in IT. That's what I did. And I didn't just have a salary that paid my bills. I had a salary that provided me a pretty decent upper middle class life. Right now, I live bills to bills because I live off of my savings, and I'm okay with it. I don't complain about it. I don't ask for anything. I don't ask for you to like fund me or anything. This is not your job. It's my job to figure out what I want to do. And I want to do this. I want to talk about my country. I want to help my country because I can't physically be in my country helping there. So this is my way of doing what I can do. So for me to read stuff like you monetize and profit off of war is not only incredibly upsetting and incredibly hurtful, but also like ironically funny, because I've lost so much money and so much income by literally like doing this. So don't anyone dare tell me that I'm trying to make money off of a conflict in my country when I've made 8 times as much as I make right now. Probably 10 if you count all of the losses that I take out of my own savings. So that is that, and we covered that. 2 is I want to speak to, because I know YouTube is going to watch this video because I spoke to them through email. And I'm so incredibly upset with them because 41 days ago, which normally takes, what am I asking for? First of all, there is a troll on TikTok who says, then why are you asking? Did I just ask you for money, or did I just explain why it pisses me off? Did I ask you for money? I'm not. So shut up. I know that YouTube is going to watch this video because I talked to them through email, and I talked to them through YouTube support, and I want to address them. 41 days ago, I applied for YouTube monetization, so I would be able to interview Ukrainian defenders and give the money from monetization to them and their families so they could compensate for things that they have lost in the war, especially those who protected Mariupol, because they've lost everything. The city doesn't exist anymore. It was 41 days ago that I applied. Normally, it takes a week to review monetization. At most, it takes 30 days. My monetization took 41 days to look over, which is significantly longer than normal. And today I received a rejection letter stating that I produce controversial content that's harmful to YouTube's audience. The war in Ukraine, dear YouTube, is not controversial content. I don't produce controversial content. I talk about the news every day. I cite all of my sources and I read them from literally accredited international publications. If you think they write about controversial topics that are facts, you should take it up with them, not with me. That's 1. 2, This Sunday, you demonetized all Ukrainian creators, absolutely every single one of them. And you unfairly target Ukrainian creators, saying that we talk about controversial subjects. So here's an oxymoron then. All of the Russian creators that are continuously pushed onto my FYP or onto my recommendations, no matter how many times I press not interested, are monetized. And they talk about the same subject. Those are Russian creators who talk about the war in Ukraine. And they're all monetized. They are, and I've asked them. I've done an investigation on this. And YouTube said that they're going to demonetize all Russian creators, but what they actually did is they demonetized Russian creators as long as they're watched in Russia. If the views are coming from the United States or from any other country like Ukraine, for instance, they're monetized. They get money for it. So all of the Russian creators who talk about the war in Ukraine somehow are monetized, and it's not a controversial subject. All Ukrainian creators are talking about a controversial subject. So on Sunday, all big Ukrainian creators were demonetized. On Monday, YouTube said that it was a mistake and they fixed it. On Tuesday, I received an email from YouTube saying that I produce controversial content that does not apply to their monetization policies. And here's the thing, YouTube. Jake Bro is monetized, same content as mine, but way more followers. John Aravosis is monetized, same content, way more followers. My TikTok is monetized. My Twitch is monetized. Same content. Literally what you're seeing on the screen right now goes on TikTok and goes on Twitch. It's monetized. And I will tell you that TikTok guidelines are much more strict than yours, and they take you down for every single act of anything when trolls report you. Every single time my lives get reported, they get reinstated because I don't produce any hate speech, and they review it. And I am the only thing that you're doing is you're unfairly targeting me, and trolls are targeting Ukrainian creators, and you're letting it happen. And I understand that from TikTok. TikTok has a lot of controversial things about it. I understand that from every platform. I do not understand that from YouTube, because YouTube to me has been the beacon of kind of like social media platforms that's actually fair. And so to me as a Ukrainian creator, it is incredibly discouraging and incredibly disappointing when I see so many Russian creators, again, pushed to me in my recommendations every single day, no matter how many times I press not interested. And I'm Ukrainian. I watch English-speaking content and I watch Ukrainian-speaking content. I do not principally watch Russian-speaking content. I do not get recommendations of Ukrainian content. I get recommendations of English-speaking content and Russian-speaking content. And those are creators that you said you were gonna demonetize. You didn't not only not demonetize them, you monetize them. And they speak about the same stuff that I do, except they talk about from the perspective of an aggressor country attacking, killing the people in my country every day. And I'm very curious as to how is the war and news from verified news sources controversial? How is it considered controversial? How is the war in Ukraine controversial? What is controversial about it? Please answer that question to me, YouTube. And please tell me, how is it that you apologized for demonetizing all Ukrainian creators because your algorithm unfairly targeted them, and you reinstated all of their monetization, and then literally the next day you issued a rejection letter to me on my monetization. 41 days after I applied for it. Yet most creators normally get a decision within 3 days. And your thing says that the cap is 30 days. Please tell me how. My channel is growing every day, consistently. My statistics are all up. So here's what I want to say. If this problem is not fixed, I'm leaving YouTube, and it's not like oh, I'm petty, I'm like whatever. No, it's just I as a creator feel incredibly unsafe on this platform where Russian creators and Russian content and Russian narrative and Russian propaganda is being pushed to the point of no tomorrow. To Ukrainians too. It's like a slap in the face. And it's being monetized and it's being perpetuated and it's being encouraged. while Ukrainian content is not being spread, is not being pushed anywhere, in fact, is being silenced, in fact, is being taken back, in fact, is being demonetized. And it is being demonetized for people literally screaming for help because they're being killed every day. If you actually watched my lives, you would have known that yesterday I couldn't go to bed until 7 in the morning, and I couldn't do that for 3 days before that because my city was bombed. My city is in the west of Ukraine. It's not a front line. It's as far from the front line as humanly possible. It's near Poland. It was bombed. A bomb landed between my grandmother's apartment and my father's apartment, and I was on the phone with my dad when it happened, and service dropped, and I didn't hear from him for 30 minutes. And I didn't know whether he was okay. Turns out service went out and he couldn't respond to me because he was also in a basement. He's thankfully okay. And so you want to tell me that this is controversial content? Silencing Ukrainian creators who are trying to tell the world what's happening in their country is controversial content? Do better, YouTube. Genuinely do better. This is not like me trying to be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to leave this platform if you don't fix this. No, I genuinely am going to leave this platform if you don't fix this, not because I want to be petty. Not because I want to give you an ultimatum, but because I simply am so disappointed. I'm so disappointed that, honestly, if you're going to reject my monetization, but you're going to still give it to Russian creators, I don't want to be a part of this. It's disgusting and disturbing. Disturbing is the word for it. It's disturbing that you called a tragedy that I live through every day controversial content. Meanwhile, this platform is not about shitting on Russians. This platform is not about hating on Russians. In fact, I've said every single time that I just don't want to have anything to do with them. I don't want to hear about them. I don't want to know about them. That's all. I never talk about, bombing Russia. I never talk about revenge. I never talk about people hating Russians. No, I literally just say that I personally and all Ukrainians don't want to have anything to do with them ever again. And that's fine. This is not hateful behavior. This is not hate speech. It's a person with trauma literally saying, just leave me alone. Stop pushing Russian content onto me. Stop talking about Russians to me. And you're going to monetize Russian creators that walk around the Red Square and ask people why they support or not support the war in Ukraine. And you're going to monetize that. But someone who's telling you what's actually happening, and someone who, I read the news. I read news from Reuters, from Die Welt, from Bellingcat, from freaking Kyiv Independent, from publications that are internationally accredited, publications that are verified on your channel, on your platform. These publications are verified. I read news from those. How on earth is it controversial? Please tell me. The interview with Torque is controversial? Maybe, is that what you want to say? Because that's a defender of Ukraine talking about his experience. I'm sorry that you have to hear that a man had to sit under the bridge and change his and adjust his tourniquet for 3 days that was supposed to be adjusted every 2 hours, who almost lost his leg and almost bled out. That's controversial to you? Well, I am very sorry, but that's what's happening, and people have to know about this to stop this so this never happens again. And how are we supposed to talk about it, and how are we supposed to stop it if on every single corner of the way we're being pushed down and down and down and down? Again, YouTube, I'm monetized on every other platform. I'm not monetized on Instagram because I never applied. I'm not monetized on Twitter because, well, my Twitter is really fresh and I don't have enough following there, and I also did not apply for monetization there. I'm monetized on TikTok. I'm monetized on Twitch. Doesn't go against their guidelines. Not controversial content to them. How come is it controversial content to you? No, I'm not arguing with one commenter. I'm talking about YouTube's discriminatory policy against Ukrainian creators. When they said that they wouldn't discriminate Ukrainian creators anymore and then did it again. And decisions like these and things like these make me want to stop it altogether, because what's the point if we're just going to be bumped down and bumped down and bumped down and slept down and slept down and slept down? And I think that that's the point. I think that's actually the point. To discourage us so much that we stop talking about it. Well, here's the thing, we're not going to stop talking about it. But what's going to end up happening is you have a creator who's very dedicated, who goes live every day, who produces videos every week, who always engages with their audience, who has, I don't know, I think a pretty steady audience, because like I try to build connections with my audience. I consider it a community. And you're going to lose that creator. And that channel is not going to grow. And you already make so much money on creators. Obviously, I only matter to you, YouTube, if I make you money. Well, here is the thing. I would be making you money. And I would be making money for the people who actually need it, so I can donate it to good causes. And you're preventing me from doing that. And it's so incredibly frustrating. So incredibly frustrating. Can you please block the Russian troll that says that I'm looking to create a cult? And this is the stuff, like, then you say maybe that it's controversial content because there's trolls coming in here and telling me that I'm a Nazi and telling me that I'm a cult leader and telling me that I'm crazy and calling me all sorts of names, and they never get blocked. Nothing ever happens to them. I get all of the flack for that. I get all of the flack for people coming in here and being hateful to me. And that is something, YouTube, that you need to figure out, because it's incredibly upsetting. And to the people who are watching me, I ask you please to email YouTube to tell them that their decision to not monetize my channel and their decision to do this is incredibly discriminatory towards Ukrainian creators. You literally can email any part of YouTube and just put my username for my channel. And literally, if you can do that, that would be incredibly, incredibly, incredibly helpful. Another thing is I posted a TikTok video and I asked people to tag YouTube on there. So if you can spread that video, if you can like that video, if you can save that video, if you can tag YouTube, that would be very helpful, because the more buzz is created, the more are the chances that they're going to stop doing this. Because at this point, it's not even just about my monetization. It's not even about the money. It's about the fact that you're willing to monetize the people who are pro-genocide. You're willing to monetize the people who, pardon my French, shit on Ukraine every day. You're willing to monetize people who talk about, like, who call Ukrainians Nazis. Their reason was, I will literally read you. I will read you their reason. It's fascinating. After reviewing your channel, we found that it does not follow YouTube's monetization policies. Reviewer feedback: harmful content, content that focuses on controversial issues and that is harmful to viewers. Content that focuses on controversial issues and that is harmful to viewers. Harmful content. So talking about the war is harmful content. Yet, the fact that there are thousands of Ukrainians dying every day over aggression is not harmful. And the fact that there is a ton of Russian misinformation that isn't being censored and isn't being taken down is not harmful. And the people who are trying to combat that Russian misinformation are considered harmful. Yet there are tons and tons of Russian creators who produce incredibly terrible propaganda videos that land me and other Ukrainians as being called Nazis. And that's okay. But talking about the news and citing events with sources is harmful. Interviewing a man who almost gave his life for the freedom of his country and for the freedom of his city that was shelled to the ground by Russia is harmful. talking to the man who serves in Azov regiment that's been labeled neo-Nazis on absolutely for no reason, and asking him what his beliefs are is harmful. Introducing you to the person behind, I don't know, behind the conspiracy is who's what? I literally have no words. I have no words. And it's so incredibly upsetting to me. So incredibly upsetting. And honestly, yeah, today is the day that I wanted to just not go live, and I wanted to not do this because I'm upset. I'm angry and I'm upset. But I'm here and I'm doing this because this is important. So please stop undermining Ukrainians being able to do these important things. It's so incredibly upsetting. It's a no reply email. I sent a message to I sent a message to their chat support, and I spoke to the chat support person, and I explained to them what has happened, and I explained to them why it is discriminatory, and I asked them to fix this, and they said that they will escalate the issue and they'll deep dive into my channel, and they are going to review this, and they're going to get back to me through email. Now, the funny thing is, I think what's going to end up happening, and I want to have this on record so I can show it to YouTube again when this happens, is they're going to review my channel and they're going to add a reason on top of that for why my content can be monetized. So they're just going to change. They're still not going to monetize it. They're just going to change the reason. They're going to be like, oh, I'm sorry. Well, we actually said harmful content, but it's actually, I don't know, you said fuck you on stream. And so we're going to demonetize it. Yet, people like Logan Paul and Jake Paul and all of them curse out of like the wazoo on all of their videos and nothing, no problem. So yeah, there is that. Scott on YouTube says, okay, I'm confused. Isn't John Aravosis monetized? He talks about the same thing. Yes, precisely. He is monetized and he does talk about the same thing. Thank you, Netlin. Yeah, precisely. Yes, he is monetized. And he does talk about the same thing. So does Jake Bro. And so does Anna from Ukraine. And so does, I don't know, every single other creator. But my content is controversial because I actually interviewed a member of Azov regiment, and because I actually am going to interview another Ukrainian soldier tomorrow, a Marine, who was deemed by Russia a mercenary. Meanwhile, he is a Ukrainian citizen and he's the member of the Ukrainian Marines. You really need to talk to John about what? Anyways. I'm done with this. Also, I wanted to say thank you to Kayla again for the microphone yesterday. I know that some people were asking about other things. I know that I said that there was a gimbal for a camera that was like $150. The problem is it was $100 something on sale. Now it's $200 something. So I'm not going to mention it. We're going to figure it out without that. And we're going to figure out how to film interviews outside without a gimbal, because $170 and $270 is a very big difference. and it was on sale. It's not on sale anymore. Rather, it's on smaller sales. So I'm not going to, I'm not going to go into that. Scott is asking, is it the graphic videos showing effects of war? Well, the videos, I don't have graphic videos. That's the thing, is that like I censor everything that could be graphic. I censor everything that could be graphic. No, so someone says check B&H. I know B&H. I've checked B&H. I have DJI gear already, which means I already have a phone app that would like easily help me. Whatever. The only two gimbals that I know of, because anyways, I have people in the field that talk about these things. Are DJI and Zhiyun. Zhiyun is a good gimbal, but it's a different app, so it's like they're the same price point. And the one that I found is it used to be $500, but a newer version came out that is now $500. The version that I found is the previous version, and it's now it was on sale for $170. Now it's $270. But yeah, it's a previous version of like a newer gimbal. Its newer version is like $500. The one that I found is already super discounted. It's not going to be cheaper at B&H. B&H has the same stuff. Yeah, exactly. John Aravosis does the same thing, and they don't bat an eye. Here is the thing. I've noticed that Americans who talk about the war in Ukraine don't get preferential treatment, but Ukrainians who talk about the war in Ukraine get banned, get blocked, get demonetized, everything. Also, Americans who talk about the war in Ukraine get pushed much more. Their content gets pushed much more. Ukrainians who talk about the war in Ukraine don't get pushed. On New York. And so yeah, it's just, it's difficult sometimes, and it's difficult sometimes, and it's just annoying. And it's upsetting, and it's discouraging, and it's demotivating, and it's, and it's just kind of feels like a slap in the face, because like it feels like we scream and scream and scream and scream every day, and we like try, and we are, we're telling people about what's happening, and Russia keeps bombing us and bombing us and bombing us, and instead of like laying down there and just like letting them kill us, we keep doing and doing and doing and doing, and we keep standing up for ourselves, and we keep talking to like and everyone is just trying to like silence us, and it's so incredibly, like, it's not even maddening, it's just like so upsetting, especially like a platform that has so much influence and so much like money to do and know better, like YouTube. Like I'd expect this from TikTok. I'd expect this from Instagram. I'd expect this from Facebook. But from YouTube, really, I didn't expect it. It's so incredibly upsetting to me, because I have so much respect for YouTube. But now it's like, do I have respect for YouTube? Because clearly YouTube doesn't have respect for me. But YouTube has respect for numerous Russian creators that it still lets make money out of American views and also out of Ukrainian views. What's the most horrifying thing is that a lot of Russian creators that don't know how to speak English, who are producing content in Russian in Russia, are now producing provocative content aimed at Ukrainian audiences. And Ukrainian audiences, and they make videos that are super provocative, so they get millions and millions of views. And all of those views are coming from Ukrainian audiences who are angry, right? But every view is money. If Russian people watch it from Russia, they don't get monetized. But if Ukrainian people watch it from Ukraine, Russian creators get monetized. Now tell me, please, how is it that YouTube allows Russian creators to monetize on Ukrainians? Please tell me. Because I don't understand. I don't understand how you let Russian creators monetize to begin with. But the fact that you let Russian creators monetize on Ukrainians, disgusting, disturbing. Disgusting. Google owns YouTube. Yes, of course. YouTube is Google platform. Anyways, that's what I had to say about all of that. Okay. I will start on the news because if I don't, that'll be incredibly, I just need to. Okay. Kyiv region, morning of October 10th. No, Google and YouTube did not stop Russians from monetizing. This is the teacher's house, otherwise known as the council house in Kyiv, and this is the consequences of the Russian world coming onto it. What's my decision about YouTube? Well, if YouTube doesn't change its decision and YouTube decides to demonetize me for the reason of controversial subjects, then I'm going to delete my YouTube account and I'm going to leave YouTube, because I'm not going to participate in a platform that considers a massacre of my people to be a controversial subject. That's what I'm going to do. Ukraine stops electricity exports. Today's rocket attack, which hit thermal generators and electrical substations, forced Ukraine to suspend electricity exports starting October 11th, 2022, to stabilize its own energy system, the Ministry of Energy of Ukraine reported, cited source. Sweden refused to share the results of its investigation into the alleged sabotage of the Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2 gas pipeline in the Baltic Sea with Russia, according to the authorities of Sweden, cited source. These are the consequences of today's missile strikes on Kyiv in Takava Coffee Buffet Cafe. The cafe staff was in a shelter at the time of the explosion, so no one was injured. Everyone is alive and well. Only the windows and dishes were battered. We will restore everything. We will open a few more coffee shops after this one, commented Dima Lenik, brand chief barista of the chain for the Village Ukraine, a news source. A cited news source is the Village Ukraine. For anyone who's concerned about me deleting my YouTube account and not being able to access videos, I will find a different platform where I can put out my videos and they will still be available for you, so no worries. Due to increased tensions, Poles are advised not to visit Belarus, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Poland. If the security situation deteriorates dramatically, the borders get closed, or other unforeseeable situations occur, evacuation may become very difficult, if not possible. The Parliament of Estonia is collecting signatures from the MPs to recognize Russia as a terrorist state, said Marko Michelson, chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee of the Estonian Parliament. Joe Biden stated that today's missile attack on Ukraine only further reinforced our commitment to stand with the people of Ukraine for as long as it takes. The United States and its allies will continue to work to hold Russia and Putin accountable for war crimes. As a result of the morning strike in Zaporizhia on October 11th, an educational institution, a medical institution, and residential buildings were damaged. According to preliminary information, there are victims among the population of the city, writes the secretary of the Zaporizhia City Council, Anatoly Kurtov. He is the source, and it's cited. The EU calls on Belarus to forbid the use of its territory as a launching pad for Russian missiles and promises to respond if a Russian-Belarusian group of troops is created. Peter Stano, lead spokesperson for the EU Foreign Affairs and Security Policy. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dmytro Kuleba, said that none of his Western colleagues talked about negotiations with Russia when calling him after the Russian missile strikes. Valery Zaluzhny, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. This is a scheme of missile and airstrikes and missile attacks on the territory of Ukraine by the aggressor state of the Russian Federation. Situation as of 10:20, 11 a.m. The Ukrainian edition of Forbes estimated the cost of Russian missiles fired at Ukraine on October 10th at $400 to $700 million. This is Lviv at the moment of a Russian missile hit. October 10th. This is my city. I don't know whether this is going to be considered as controversial, but there is no one seen in the video with any injuries or anything like that. It's just a big firework in my city. Please take this out. The one that I'm pointing to. Thank you very much. Some of the largest US airports have been targeted for cyber attacks by hackers from the Russian Federation. ABC News reports, citing a senior US official. Airport systems cannot manage air traffic. Internal communications and airline coordination do not work. More than a dozen sites were affected by the hacker attacks, said John Hultquist, Vice President of Intelligence Analysis at Mandiant. According to him, this type of attack actually overloads the sites by clogging them with artificial users. According to Hultquist, the pro-Russian hacker group Killnet is behind the attack. Russian troops shelled Zaporizhia with S-300 missiles. Details. The invaders attacked Zaporizhia. S-300 missiles were fired at the city. Shells hit civilian objects, and one of them provoked a fire. As a result of the shelling, the Škoda car dealership was completely destroyed. Ursula von der Leyen recorded an address where she expressed outrage and shock at the attack carried out by Russia in Ukrainian cities. Russia once again has shown to the world what it stands for. It is terror and brutality. Those who are responsible have to be held accountable, the politician emphasized. The Russian army opened an emergency stock of missiles, according to experts. Such a command could have been given by General Sergei Surovikin, Roman Svitan believes. They understand that they are completely losing the war, and losing the war is the collapse of Russia. They no longer need the untouchable sanctuary as such. When they lose, then at least they will throw it out later, Svitan explained. So the new general of the Russian armed forces is known for his tactics of brutally shelling civilian infrastructure in order to break the civilians from resistance. And so that strike, those mass strikes on Ukraine on October 10th are considered to be his signature. And those strikes are considered to be his personal signature. And so it also looks like these strikes were planned before the strike on the Crimean bridge, and that is according to the White House. And we're going to get there because, I'm going to cite the source in that one, so it's not controversial. Ministry of Defense of Ukraine on Twitter said, "We will never surrender. We will fight." There will be a day of reckoning in the war in Ukraine, Chief Prosecutor of the International Criminal Court Karine Ahmad Khan in an interview with CNN. International law will ensure the justice of war crimes committed during the Russian war in Ukraine, that any hooligan, any person with a gun or a rocket will understand that there is a law. The law may not be as strong as many want, but it is not as weak as many think, Han said. India will not trade with Russia in rubles and rupees. The currencies for settlements will remain global, dollars and euros, Times of India reported. Ukraine has turned the tide of the war and is confronting Russian troops that are in a state of exhaustion, Jeremy Fleming, head of the UK Government Communications Centre, said on Tuesday, BBC reports. The main theses from the speech of the head of the Special Services. Despite a massive missile attack on the territory of Ukraine, the Russian military is running out of ammunition, and the decisions of Russian President Vladimir Putin turned out to be wrong. Russia's spending in the war in Ukraine in terms of people and equipment is staggering, but all the successes of Russian troops on the battlefield in the first months of the war are now nullified. Russian commanders on the ground know that their supplies and ammunition are running out. In the absence of effective internal resistance, Vladimir Putin's decisions turned out to be erroneous. This is a high-stakes strategy that leads to strategic errors in judgment. Director General of the International Atomic Energy Agency, Rafael Grossi, will meet today in Moscow with Russian dictator Vladimir Putin. The main topic of the meeting is the creation of a security zone around the ZNPP. It is necessary to convene an emergency summit of NATO member countries in the coming days after Russia's missile strikes on Ukraine, Great Britain Prime Minister Liz Truss said. Truss will make the call at a meeting of G7 leaders on Tuesday, the office at 10 Downing Street said in a statement. The huge international support for Ukraine's struggle contrasts sharply with Russia's isolation on the international stage. Nobody wants peace more than Ukraine. For our part, we must not weaken one iota our determination to help them win. Truss quoted the government department as saying, "It is noted that at the G7 meeting, which will be attended by Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, the British Prime Minister will also turn to his colleagues with a proposal to continue the sanctions policy against Russia." Hi, Mad Max. Hi, Danon. Using expensive high-precision missiles against civilian infrastructure instead of military targets is at least illogical, especially in the situation with Russia, which is under sanctions, and even strikes on the Ukrainian energy system will not break the Ukrainians. These conclusions were made by the experts from the American Institute for the Study of War. One of the things is that, Russia consistently keeps trying to break our spirit by shelling us, but the thing that they don't understand is that you only make us angrier and you only make us stronger. You only make us want to stand up more. Russia shelled Kyiv, and in an hour, Ukrainians got $400,000 to buy drones. Then, in 2 hours, we had 1 million. In 12 hours now, I believe we've gathered about $8 million or $9 million to buy drones, and that is from Ukrainians alone to Serhiy Prytula Foundation. That's insane. That's insane. And that is the country that Russia is trying to defeat, and that is the people that Russia is trying to defeat. Thank you, Matt. And that is Ukrainians. You shell us, you try to kill us, and we stand up. We stand up and we resist. And the more you try to kill us, the more we're going to resist. Because we would all rather die than live under Russian occupation. Rescuers specified the number of victims of yesterday's massive Russian strike on Ukraine. According to the State Emergency Service, 19 people died and 105 were injured. The hit was recorded at critical and civilian infrastructure facilities in 12 regions and in Kyiv, where more than 30 fires broke out. Take a look. Okay, there is a Russian person saying, that's war start American, that's all. Yeah, for sure. America definitely started this war. It's just, it's interesting because 80% of Russians support it. 80% of Russians are on the front. Those Russians are on the front lines killing Ukrainians. It's not Americans who do that. Also, every time you say that America started this war, and every time you say that it's the US to blame, you're taking away from Ukrainian consciousness and you're telling us that we are idiots who are incapable of making our own decisions. And you're erasing our history, and you're also erasing your responsibility. And that responsibility is tens of genocides against Ukraine at the hands of Russia in the past 100 years alone. No, it's not America who started this war. It's Russia who started this war by consistently silencing us, by consistently prosecuting us, by consistently killing us. The main Directorate of Intelligence reports that the Russians continue to accumulate Shahed 136 kamikaze drones in Belarus. Belarus receives Iranian Shahed 136 kamikaze drones. As of October 10th, 32 such UAVs were imported into the country, and it is planned to import 8 more by October 14th. Belarus also provides the occupying army with logistics and ammunition from its warehouses. In particular, a railway train with ammunition arrived in Kirovskaya railway station in Crimea. 12 wagons, 492 tons, which was sent from 43 arsenals for storing missiles and ammunition from Belarus. In the near future, it is planned to transfer 13 trains with weapons and military equipment from arsenals and storage bases from Belarus. Come here, Sin. Sin. Sinny, come here. Hey, dog. Come here. Come here. Here. What's Sinny? Treat? Hey, treat? Come on. I don't have a treat right now, but I'm asking you to sit down here and chill out a little bit because you are being very, 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 very. You're being a little too much right now, Cindy. Give me a second. What are you doing? No. We're not gonna use no. The place where the rocket hit the Dnipro yesterday, photo above, and today, photo below. How do Russians want to win? Yesterday, this was what the street looked like. Today, this is what the street looks like. Okay, so doggy go woof. I'm gonna leave. Wait, let me do something. Cinny. Hey. Why are you being so difficult recently? Every time I go live, you don't want me to. Come here. Wait. Hey, child. Sit. Wait. What are you doing? Wait, Cinny. I'm gonna go to the bathroom, and you are gonna wait. Cinny. Hey. Come here. What's going on? Sit. Wait. See here. Wait. I'll be back. Sin. What are you doing? Hey, what are you? Oh, you want to take it from the side. I see. Come here. Hey, come here. I didn't say okay. What's going on? Come here. Sit. Wait. Okay. Right. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna do this for you. What's up? Here, look. You want some ear scratchies? There you go. Ear scratchies. Look at that. Ear scratchies. Ear scratches. Okay, ear scratches. Without having to damage your ears with your huge nails. Anytime you need your ear scratched, you can just ask me. I'll scratch it. No need to do that with your nail. No need to do that. They don't normally get ear infections a lot. Cindy is a particular case because she scratches her ear and then it gets like inflamed because her, like she gets like into her ear. She's very like flexible to say the least. Okay, I will read some more news, or actually, you know what, because I wanted to go to the bathroom, but Vasily is now in there. But I wanted to mention something, and this is from the fundraiser type of ordeal. So you all remember Torque, right? One thing I wanted to do is, so Torque is currently in rehabilitation for, so he basically misses a part. He doesn't have a part of a muscle in his leg. Torque is a defender of Ukraine who defended Azovstal in Mariupol. He misses a part of a muscle in his leg, and also some of the nerves are damaged. Some are contused. Some of his muscles are atrophied and stuff like that. And so what I wanted to do is, there is this thing that actually went on sale today. Wow, look at that. That's hilarious. Wait, is it on sale? That's hilarious. Wait, why did it go on sale? Oh no, it did not. Okay, it did not. But so it's this thing. It's called a Theragun, and it's $600 plus tax. But it's basically like this thing that Sini, come here. It's basically this thing that like if your muscles are it's not on sale. I looked at the wrong one. Oh my gosh, why am I so slow today? But this thing is it like, so if you have like muscle spasms or pains or shooting pains or something, it will basically like relax your muscles. When you work out, it relaxes your muscles and stuff like that. While it's not going to heal him, and he's going through a tremendous amount of physical therapy, probably will need like 10 years of physical therapy. And he is I think that this would be very helpful for him. Theragun at Walmart for under $50. Well, it's not going to be a Theragun, is it? But the reason why I looked at this one is because it has an app and it targets specific muscles, and you can teach it your body, and you can teach it your muscles, and you can teach it like specific things that it has like an app, and it basically gets like accommodated to your body. And that's the reason why I went for this specific one. I know there is a ton of different ones. I know there is a ton of like dupes for it. I know there is a ton of stuff like that. But I also would say that like a lot of these different massagers, that are not high end or whatever, I wouldn't want to use that on someone who's missing half a muscle in his leg. Because like, while I could buy that for myself because I stretched wrong and I just want to like work out my muscle or something, like I wouldn't want to get something that might not be proper, so to speak, for someone who has a huge traumatic injury. And I think that this one, the reason why I wanted to get something that's like super, super out there is because it has like a whole, like it learns your body. It has like an AI system behind it and stuff like that. And like, just to give you an idea of what Torque's injury is like, some of the nerves in his leg are contused, and some of them are damaged. He's missing part of the muscle, so he can't lift his foot this way, even if he does it with force, because his muscles are atrophied here. He has incredible shooting pains sometimes when he sits for too long or stands for too long, or stuff like that. And so the reason why I would go for something more professional and something that has like research behind it and something that has like a tremendous warranty and stuff like that is because if anything happens, you can address this with this big company. But if you buy something that's like I don't know, just like a just like a massager, not like a technology whatever that has like an app and tells you what to do, I doubt that you could bring up the consequences if something goes wrong. Anyways, this is not it's like it's totally fine. I figured I'd mention it if it's, if you guys if you feel like it's something that you wouldn't want to participate in, or if it's something redundant, or if it's something that you think is like a waste of money or whatever, that's also totally fine. I will find a way to make it happen, because I think that it's going to be incredibly useful, and I think it's going to be incredibly helpful. But again, it's on me. But I figured I'd bring it up. Um, just to be clear, will he be able to walk again? He walks now, but he will never be able to. So Danon is asking, just to be clear, will he be able to walk again? Probably with cane. He walks now, and he's able to walk. He is not able to run. He's not able to like super walk. He has a lot of issues walking. Like a lot of one of his legs is much slimmer than the other one. One of the legs has much more muscle than the other one. There is a lot of stuff there. He's going to need tremendous physical therapy. He's going to be able to run. He's going to be able to walk. He's going to be able to do these things. But the leg is never going to be. But the leg is never going to be in the same condition as it was before. So it's never, as he said, it's never going to go back to factory settings, as he said. So that's that. And he's also like a very, he's also like a very, very sweet guy, and he's very humble. When I like reached out to him and I was like, hey, do you think this would be helpful? He's like, oh, no, no, you don't need to. He's like, he is, he's the kind of person who will like reject help that you offer him, because he is just very sweet. Okay, with that said, I really need to use the bathroom. I'm gonna ask Vasil to
hang out with people.
Yeah, can you say hello, because I need to use the bathroom? But also, please be very, very mindful, because I have had a whole speech to YouTube telling them how wrong they are in demonetizing Ukrainian creators, and so please be nice and pleasant, and and don't say anything that YouTube can consider controversial.
Okay, Brandon, have 2 minutes. I'm gonna talk to people also. Hello everyone, how are you doing? I have just got a new earring on. You're talking about your husband, right? No, I'm not Julia's husband. I'm okay. I've just recreated my resume. Hello. Who doesn't really know much about me? Hello. Привіт. Nice to see you. That's just the kind of person who makes want to give. Hi. I'm from Australia. Слава Україні. Героям слава. You look nice, do I? Dude. Hello. I just got a shower, so. Nice to see you. Nice to see you too. Has Yulia's husband Evan been on her live? I have no idea. You have to ask Yulia about that, not me, since I just recently moved here. So, yes, he has here too. Um, yes, I'm not Yulia's husband. I'm not a brother. I'm not a cousin I'm just a friend of her. And yeah, Slava Ukraine, Denver, Colorado. Hello, very nice to see you. Hello from Canada. How's your day? It was okay. Oh my gosh, can I use an advantage of being on Julia's live to ask you follow me and my social medias? I hope I can do that. Yeah, Julia did that when I was live, so why not? Yes, I'm from Ukraine. Tak is Ukraine. You can follow my TikTok, my Instagram, and my Patreon also. Would be so grateful. Canada, hello. Hello. Oh my gosh. It's so uncomfortable. I don't know how does she handle that. Change your name. I say yes, I just told you about that. Так, розумію українську з України. Hey, how to find your TikTok? You can find my TikTok. Might be controversial, lol. Okay, so guys, that was nice to see you. Bye bye. Have a nice evening listening to Julia.
Why are you saying it like that? Also, here's your AirPods if you need them.
Okay, I need, of course.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, can you, yeah, з цього боку також. See, it's like, no, like this way.
I know what you're talking.
Thank you. Thank you, baby. Yes, Vasil is sweet. Please follow Vasil. He's very nice. He's, I've proclaimed him to be my child, although I'm
I
waiting.
advertised myself a little at the end.
Of course you did. Them Gen Z people. The presidents of all European countries in a joint statement condemned massive Russian missile strikes on Ukrainian cities, warning that it was a war crime without a statute of limitations. The joint statement was approved by presidents of Bulgaria, Montenegro, the Czech Republic, Estonia, Lithuania, Latvia, North Macedonia, Poland, Romania, Slovakia, and Hungary. The presidents of 11 European countries in a joint statement condemned massive Russian missile strikes on Ukrainian cities, warning that it was a war crime without a statute of limitations, including Hungary, which is very strange because Hungary is notoriously pro-Russian. So that is actually very, very interesting. I am incredibly confused about this because Hungary is notoriously pro-Russian. So it's strange that they would sign up to that. Although it wasn't signed by Viktor Orban. Orban is a prime minister. It is signed by the presidents. So Hungarian presidents signed it. So maybe I will look into that later. That might be the reason why the outcome is like that. Ukraine returned the bodies of 62 fallen defenders, Ministry of Reintegration. In particular, they managed to return the bodies of militants from Olenivka. Also, Ukraine today returned 35 POWs as well. The Russians launched a missile attack on the energy infrastructure of the Pavlograd and Kamyansky districts of Dnipropetrovsk region. The head of the regional military administration, Valentin Reznichenko, reports. The White House is confident that the Kremlin was planning massive missile strikes on Ukraine even before the explosion on the Crimean bridge. This was stated by the Speaker of the White House National Security Council, John Kirby, reports CNN. It was probably something they had been planning for quite some time, Kirby explained. At the same time, the representative of the American administration could not say for sure whether Putin finally decided to change his strategy in the war and turn denazification into a campaign to undermine the morale of the civilian population and destroy Ukrainian cities and infrastructure. The fact that the Russian army was preparing massive missile strikes against Ukraine even before the explosion on the Crimean bridge was also previously reported by Ukrainian intelligence. According to the intelligence services, the Kremlin had been planning this since early October. A substation in Shebekino, Belgorod region of Russia is on fire. The light went out in the city and water supply problems have also begun. Today, Ukrainian air defense shot down 14 enemy missiles, Speaker of the Air Force Command. Unfortunately, there are hits in Lviv. The city is partially out of power, but restoration work is already underway. As long as Vladimir Putin and his successors are in power in Russia, it is impossible to agree on an end to the war in Ukraine through negotiations, said Marie-Agnes Strack-Zimmermann, head of the Bundestag's Defense Committee. She's convinced that the end of the Russian-Ukrainian war can only be achieved by supplying Ukraine with weapons and material support. This was shown by the deadly rocket attacks by this gang of terrorists right in the center of Kyiv and other cities. Ukraine, first of all, needs Leopard 2 tanks, but it will also be very grateful for the supply of Marder BMP, Zimmermann told in an interview with Bild. According to her, in the near future, 50 Marder vehicles may leave the warehouses of the Bundeswehr to Ukraine. During the occupation of a village in Izum region, Russian invaders tortured a man and left his body on a forest plantation. On October 10th, law enforcement officers found a tortured body in a forest plantation in the village of Sinichino, Izum district. The man's head was completely wrapped in a bandage, and his hands were tied with a rope. According to preliminary data from the investigation, the man was killed and tortured by the Russian military during the occupation of the settlement. After that, they left the body of the murdered man on a forest plantation. The man's body has now been sent for forensic medical examination. This is reported by the regional administration. Russian missile strikes on Ukraine on October 10th could amount to war crimes if they deliberately targeted civilians and infrastructure, the Office of the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights said. This is so interesting to me. The Office of the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights said that Russian missile strikes on Ukraine on October 10th could amount to war crimes if they deliberately targeted civilian infrastructure. I wonder, how would they not deliberately have targeted civilian infrastructure if all of these strikes were onto the locations that are not even nearly remotely close to any military infrastructure? The Taras Shevchenko National University in Kyiv? How? How is it not deliberate? A children's playground in center of Kyiv? How is it not deliberate? A strike onto the center of Kyiv? How is it not deliberate? Targeting electrical and gas infrastructure in Lviv? Lviv is not even on the front line. There is no military activity going on there. How is it not deliberate? What do you mean if it was deliberate? Putin also came out and said in an interview that he specifically targeted civilians and civilian infrastructure. He admitted to it on air. How is it if it's deliberate? They've admitted to it. That's so crazy to me. Czech Foreign Minister Jan Lipavsky warned the Belarusian regime against compromises with the Russian Federation and a full-fledged entry into the Russian-Ukrainian war. He noted that this would have consequences for the regime, against which there is strong opposition in Belarus. Putin has been maneuvering Belarus for a long time to drag it into the war. We have so far seen the participation of Belarusian troops in the conflict. It is obvious that Belarus is already participating in the conflict. Since Russian units entered the territory of Belarus, many missile attacks are launched from the territory of Belarus, and there are planes in the airspace of Belarus that are shelling Ukraine, Lipavsky added. Another 37 children deported by the occupiers returned home, the Ministry of Reintegration of Ukraine reported. At the end of August, children were forcibly taken from the Kharkiv region to the Russian city of Kabardinka, near Gelendzhik. Despite the fact that they all have parents, currently the families have reunited and are in a safe place in Transcarpathia. They were placed in shelters for internally displaced persons in villages Bilka and Horinchevo, with picturesque views, the Ministry of Reintegration added. In temporarily occupied Crimea, Russians were repairing a tank and accidentally fired from it, injuring an 11-year-old girl. In particular, the projectile flew 8 kilometers and hit the wall of a private house where the child was. The girl received a lacerated wound on her forearm. She was hospitalized. The incident took place in Novostepne village. Volodymyr Zelensky proposed an international monitoring mission on the Belarus border. Russia is trying to directly draw Belarus into this war by planning a provocation that we, Ukraine, are preparing a strike. Indirectly, it has already dragged them in. And it seeks to draw them in directly. An international monitoring mission can be deployed on the border between Ukraine and Belarus. Our diplomats can develop the format, and I ask you at the G7 level to support this initiative of ours, he said during his speech at the G7 summit. Sini? Hey, Sin? Sorry. 1 second. Sorry, guys. Sini, come back. What are you doing? Come back. Come here. Sini. Come here, baby. Come here. Sini. Come on. Come here. Sin. You're walking around. Hi, Pineapple. You're walking around so oddly. Come here. Russia's victory in the conflict in Ukraine will be a defeat for NATO, and this cannot be allowed, Secretary General of the Alliance Jens Stoltenberg. In addition, he noted that NATO has not yet seen any signs of Russia preparing a nuclear strike. The Security Service of Ukraine discovered a new Russian torture chamber near one of the largest shrines in the Donetsk region. Security Service officers discovered a place of illegal detention of people in liberated Svetohirsk Donetsk region. The torture chamber was set up in a recreation boarding house near Svetohirsk Lavra. The Russian military forcibly kept residents who supported the territorial integrity of Ukraine there, and that's Security Service of Ukraine who reported this. Thank you, Rainbow. Sinichka. Sinichka. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come here. Hey, Grumps, come here. Come closer. Come here. Wait, Grumps, come on. Come on, Grumps. Come on. Hello. Hello, hello. 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 Okay. Hello. Sorry. You know, my dog is a toddler, not a dog. So she needs a lot of attention. Okay, I'm gonna pet you. I'm gonna pet you while I read the news. Okay, just don't harm yourself. Oh my gosh, Sin, what is going on? Oh, Canadian sappers will come to Poland to train the Ukrainian military. The Russian military again shelled the Zaporizhia region. As a result, 7 people were unalived, and the same number were wounded. Rescuers are working on the site. Cindy. Okay, come back. Cindy, sorry, lately it's been a little difficult. Okay. All 6 power units have been switched off at Zaporizhia nuclear power plant. The occupiers are forcing employees to sign contracts with Rosatom. The occupiers continue to keep all 6 units of the Zaporizhia NPP in a cold state. At present, the power supply to the station, including security systems, is provided by the 750 kilowatt Dniprovska overhead line. Today, during the day, an attempt is planned to apply voltage to the outdoor switchgear of the Zaporizhia thermal station. It was also managed to maintain the supply of electricity to the city of Enerhodar, but VRP 150 to 330 kilowatt remains without voltage. At the same time, representatives of the Russian Federation and the occupation administration continue to put pressure on the station staff. The movement of support units across the territory of ZNPP is significantly limited. The occupiers apply the so-called filtering measures to some of the personnel and members of their families. Workers are required to formalize Russian passports and sign contracts with Rosatom. Russia has ordered 2,400 Shahed kamikaze drones from Iran. And therefore, it is important that we have enough missiles to the air defense and anti-missile systems provided so that the systems are integrated with our system of defense. The president of Ukraine also said that only one person is blocking peace, and that one person is in Moscow. So one of the things that I do want to say is that even though they ordered 2,400 Shahed kamikaze drones. The thing is, I'm not sure how they're supposed to manufacture them because they definitely do not have that amount of kamikaze drones on hand. Second of all, Iran right now is dealing with regime issues of their own. There are huge protests in Iran, and their regime is collapsing day by day, as evidenced. And also, the factory that produced those drones has been blown up by Israel. So they can order 2,400 drones, but I'm not sure if they're going to be able to fulfill that order anytime soon. The prisoner swap was successfully carried out today. The head of the office of the president of Ukraine. We managed to release 32 of our soldiers, including officers, sergeants, and soldiers of the armed forces of Ukraine. The body of Israeli Dmytro Fiala was also returned. The outcome of the G7 meeting summit today. G7 said that they condemn Russia's escalation of violence against civilians in Ukraine. Support for Ukraine will continue and sanctions against Russia will be strengthened. Belarus' support for Russian aggression must have consequences. Ukraine can count on the help of friends in reconstruction as well as the unwavering financial support of the G7. Discussed actions to reduce energy prices. On October 25th, the President of the European Commission and the German Chancellor will jointly hold a special international conference on the reconstruction of Ukraine, where strategy options for Ukraine's rapid restoration will be presented. Political scientist and founder of the Eurasia Group consulting company, Ian Bremmer, said that Elon Musk told him about his phone conversation with Putin before posting a peace plan for Ukraine on Twitter. So it appears from the testimony of Ian Bremmer that Elon Musk had a conversation with Putin before he decided to post that peace proposal for Ukraine, where he said that Ukraine should have a second referendum in Crimea. So that Ukraine should give Crimea to Russia because, it's a Russian territory, and have a second referendum in Donbass. And so it looks like this conversation happened right after Elon Musk had spoken to Putin himself. The White House is working to expedite the shipment of the first 2 NASAMS systems to Ukraine as soon as possible, National Security Council Coordinator for Strategic Communications John Kirby said. During the restoration of a damaged power line in Orikhiv, Zaporizhia region, 2 workers of district power grids were unalived as a result of repeated shelling. 2 more were evacuated to the hospital with wounds, said the head of Zaporizhia Regional Military Administration, Alexander Starov. The morning missile strikes knocked out 4 important power substations in the Lviv region. Therefore, serious problems with stable electricity supply have arisen in Lviv. In the Vinnytsia region, 242 settlements were left without electricity due to shelling. A total power-saving mode was introduced in the region. Rescue dogs worked in special socks to avoid burning or injuring their paws after a Russian missile strike yesterday in Zaporizhia. This is what they look like in their personal protective gear. Полтавщина, точніше. A Ukrainian soldier shot down 2 Russian cruise missiles with Stinger manpads on October 10th, according to Zelensky. In his evening address, the president of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, honored Dmytro Shumsky, a soldier of the anti-aircraft missile platoon of the 57th Separate Radio Technical Battalion, on the proposal of the military command. Dmytro Shumsky showed excellent skills and reaction. One person saved dozens of lives. I thank you for that, Zelensky stated. Musk denies reports of his conversation with Putin on the eve of writing his anti-Ukrainian tweets. He claims to have spoken to Putin only once, 18 months ago, and the subject matter was space. 18 months ago, in April 2021, Putin also threatened Ukraine with a full-scale invasion and drew his troops to our border. Russian retail chains have almost exhausted their stocks of elite alcohol. Igor Karavayev, chairman of the Presidium of the Association of Retail Trade Companies of the Russian Federation. Large networks in Russia are experiencing a shortage. The brands of whiskey brands, Jack Daniels, Dewar's, and Aberfeldy are running out. Stocks of Bacardi rum are almost depleted. The situation is similar with Baileys and Sheridan liquors, as well as European brands of cognac and tequila. It is impossible to quickly replace brands that have left the market. In Russia, these categories are not produced in the required volume. Yes, because, according to some data, a lot of Russian people drink daily. And if you look at the Russian website for their health department, it says that less than 1% of Russia's population drinks every day. However, if you look at empirical evidence, Russia is not running out of anything but alcohol yet. Alcohol is the first thing they're running out of. Kerch Strait Bridge, as Russian propaganda said, was supposed to be the most protected infrastructure facility guarded by fighting dolphins and a satellite. However, the terrorist attack on the bridge caused quite a few problems in its functioning. Warsaw, the entire stadium is in Ukrainian Polish colors. The UEFA Champions League group stage match between Shakhtar Donetsk and Real Madrid. Well, to Ryan, who's saying gonna be a dry winter, actually, producing of moonshine is quite popular in Russia. And as I've said earlier, there is this like drink called chefir, which is basically incredibly strong tea with bread yeast in it, and it turns into into an alcohol thing that's also that also sometimes results in hallucinations and stuff. So they could do that. Lviv without light. Photos by Roman Baluk. Take a look. This is my city. Okay, so that's all I have for today. Let me quickly check Cave Independent. I'm sure it has some updates, but if they are all the same, then I would like to skip that. No, it's not kvass. Chefir is not kvass, but also yellow and blue. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, a new quote from Torque's next interview is already up on Patreon. I'm going to post the shortened version of that quote on YouTube. I think that this is all I have for today. Honestly, I'm still a little agitated and I'm still a little upset. And I'm also very, very angry for so many different reasons. One of them being that I can barely communicate to my family because there is very little service and there is not a lot of electricity. So they gotta, watch their phone charge. Also to Corkster, who says, good luck with your decisions. Well, my decision will be directly correlated to YouTube's decision. If they decide to tell me that they're not monetizing me because I, in fact, do speak on controversial subjects, I will, first of all, send them profiles of many other creators who speak on the same subject. But if they choose to call a war in my country a controversial subject, then I will be leaving the platform. So it all directly depends on YouTube. But yeah, so that's about it. But yeah, so that's that for today. If you'd like to contribute to Theragun for Torque, my PayPal or my my PayPal is in my link in bio, and if not, then I will figure it out. Honestly, I'm sorry that I'm just being very, very, very very, very, very like out of it today, but I'm not even making a lot of sense. I am thank you, Netlin. I'm just like my thoughts are all over the place, and I'm just honestly angry. I'm so angry. I'm so, so, so angry. And I'm so angry I'm angry at because so many people died, and I'm angry because they shelled civilian infrastructure, and I'm angry because people don't deserve this, and I'm angry because social media seems to favor Russia, and that's yeah, I'm just, I'm a little all over the place today. Okay, well, thank you guys. I will see you tomorrow. I'm sorry that today is a shorter broadcast than normal, but honestly, I think I need to clear my head. I really want to take a cold shower, and I really want to sort of like breathe out. Also, Cine treats are on Cine treats are there, and so is the device. I just didn't, I just don't really want to like focus attention on it because I think that it's like it's not as affordable or accessible as it was earlier. Um, okay, all right, guys. I shall see you tomorrow. Maybe I will go live a little later today and just like on TikTok and rant about whatever or just catch up on whatever. But I do need to keep transcribing Torque's interviews, and I need to keep doing things. And all right. Good night, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you for sticking by me, and thank you for sticking by Ukraine. And you guys are incredibly appreciated. Have a good night.